Hey, what's up everybody? This is Swivel, and today I want to go over some more patch notes for Atlas. Now these were released I think a day ago, and there's some pretty decent changes. This was a pretty big balancing change for a bunch of stuff, and the first one is probably the biggest balancing change of this 18.31 patch, and that is explosive barrels can now no longer be placed on enemy ships and only have a weight of 6 now. So the weight was 100 before. This is a temporary measure due to undesired gameplay. We are going to redesign the barrels from a technical / gameplay point of view to give them more use in the future. So basically this is making it so they're much lighter, which does help for raiding structures on land, which these things aren't like super crazy for anything. They're probably in a decent balance state for that, but you can't place them on enemy ships anymore. And they're basically saying that they're going to be pretty much completely redoing explosive barrels, and the reason for this, now this is just temporary that you can't place them on ships. Now the reason that, from what I've seen, why they remove this for now is because basically what you can do, and a ton of people have been doing, is they just carry explosive barrels on them, like even maybe just explosive barrels. They'll glide onto an enemy ship or just try to get on some other way. This was mainly based on active use, like destroying like just anchored ships and stuff was still an issue with them, but this is more of an active thing. So basically what people would do, they'd glide onto the ship and just place barrels down everywhere, place all their barrels, and then just blow them up, and you can't do anything about it. So someone could glide in there just with a glider, which is super cheap, and just see 6 barrels and blow up the 6 barrels, or not 6 barrels, however many barrels they have, and they can just blow them all up. You know, they'll blow up the steering wheel, they'll try to destroy planks if they can get lower, they'll blow up they'll blow it up on NPCs or, you know, the sides of ships to try to get their cannons, all that type of stuff. And pretty much the only way to counter these is swivels. And if you don't have swivels perfectly placed everywhere, they can still get them down. They can still get them down super quickly unless they get insta-killed by a swivel. So it was just kind of, there was zero active counterplay. You could do nothing. If someone knew what they were doing with the barrels, you could do nothing. They could just get on your ship. Even if you had swivels, if they hid behind something, they could just get on your ship, place all these barrels, and blow stuff up with no way to stop it. The weight is nice because they weighed 100, so they're pretty heavy, but this also does help with like AFK destroying ships, except if you have a ship close to where it's anchored, people can still blow up sides of ships because they're so close to land usually. And I don't remember if there's still a glitch that lets you blow up crates on the top of water. I think that was fixed, but overall I think this is good that they kind of removed this, especially since it helps with AFK destroying ships, which is still a massive issue, and it helps with just people being able to get on your ship even when you're on it actively fighting and just blow stuff up without you being able to affect it whatsoever. So hopefully they, when they remake it, it's in a much better state and isn't just kind of ridiculous when going against ships. Fix a case which allowed players to enter the bottom of ships. Fix a case which allowed players to clip and stick themselves inside the boat's hulls. Now this was basically, even some big streamers were doing this. I don't know how they didn't get banned for this stuff because they were clearly exploiting it. What you could do, you could just get in the front of it, like if you were swimming and a ship was moving, you could just go to the very front, try to get in front of it, and I'm pretty sure you would just, like, I forget where you were spamming, but maybe sprint in the water, or I don't even think that does anything, but there was something specific they would try to do to help with it. But basically, even if you did nothing, you could possibly glitch into the hull, and it was super hard to shoot you because if your head wasn't sticking out, you were fine, and you could loot smithies. If they didn't have their chest locked, you could loot those. You could do tons of stuff, and a bunch of streamers, even a bunch of big streamers were doing this, which is kind of ridiculous because they were specifically using this exploit to do this, to just popcorn the stuff in someone's ship. And you could even And what they would do to try to get out, they would basically lay down and get up and like spam it, kind of, to try to glitch themselves back out, because people were literally just stealing loot out of the bottoms of people's ships. Or what people would also do, which is also goes back to the explosive barrels, they would glitch through the hole and then place explosive barrels literally in the deck that the owners of the ship can't even get into, unless they did this glitch. And they would just place these barrels at the very bottom and just blow up planks at the very bottom of the ship without anyone being able to do anything to them. Fix multiple cases where players would fall through structures upon server restart, login, transition, etc. So this was basically if you like loaded in, if you respawned, whatever, logged in, and like the building you're in was loading, like you would see pieces load in slowly, or depending on how good your PC is, really fast. Sometimes you could glitch under there and just be stuck in stone. So that's a pretty nice fix. Fix a crash which would occur when transitioning the Sexnet buff. Fixed swivel cannons from firing through walls. I think this was a thing with when you put a cart on a horse or like a bear and you put a swivel on it. I think this was a glitch with that because you could clip through a wall and shoot it through the wall. I'm not entirely certain, but I'm pretty sure that was the fix for it. Allow players to pick up structures if you're on the same team, even if you do not have demolish rights. So this is a very nice change. So basically, a lot of people would do this. So they'd set different ranks and stuff. You need a different rank to like demolish something or stuff like that. Even if you're the one that placed it, you wouldn't be able to demolish it, but you wouldn't be able to pick it up with a 30-second. So if you just placed it, you wouldn't be able to pick it up with that 30-second timer, which was a really big issue, because if the company chooses to have those rule sets, you'd have to have a admin either give you like rights to be able to do it, or come over and demolish stuff. And if you're like customizing ships or creating bases, it was just a massive hassle. So this is actually a very big change, especially with bigger companies that have these settings. Global number of ships is now displayed in the player's Atlas map UI. We'll be making this more visible in the UI in the future update. It will not display if you do not have any ships and do not belong to a company. So this is just your company ships, I'm pretty sure. It says global number of ships, but I'm pretty sure this is just your company ships, I would assume. Cleans up an error message when attempting to craft a boat when you were at maximum global limit. Added a crew name filter for company UI. So the name filter, I'm pretty certain, is you can search people's names in your company, which is pretty big change as well, because some companies have 500 people in them, which is the max, and trying to scroll through a list that big is pretty ridiculous. It's going to take you like 5-10 minutes to try to find someone in this massive list of people. Added a 12-second delay between playing status of voice clips, such as injured or starvation. So this is also very much a nice change that a lot of people want to even a bunch of Reddit posts on this. So basically, if you were injured, if you were starving, literally like every 1 to 2 seconds, you would get a loud moan, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. If you had vitamin reductions, or if you had vitamin deficiencies, there'd be moans. If you had vitamins too high, if you had food, water too high, anything out of the ordinary, and your character would just moan and play these really loud voice clips that are super annoying just every 1 to 2 seconds. So I'm glad there's a 12-second delay in between. That's pretty big. They could probably increase that more, but that is a very nice change. War drums now been adjusted to be more rewarding, just like the what's the other instrument? The accordion. And there's this shows all the changes of all the different buffs, all that type of stuff. Tweaked war drum battle songs to eliminate a big gap in the note sheet preview, just a preview, not the actual song. Fix a bug causing the buff timer shown on the music UI during a looping song that gives a perpetual buff to become off by 1 second from the actual buff timer. Fix a bug causing notes to incorrectly fail when activated near the edges of song loops. Fix a bug where client FPS stutter could cause notes to fail that should have been autoplayed. Reduce tutorial background opace. I can't pronounce that correctly. So this is just, I'm pretty sure the big tutorial message It basically, so you can see it better, basically. Made it so text wasn't cut off for long paragraphs in the tutorial. Again, tutorial changes the big box tutorial when you first log in. Pretty sure you can deactivate these anyway. I don't think a lot of people were actually caring too much about those. Mod map extension now works and will not require recooking the mod. Linux Waveworks optimizations. The Linux servers will run much better. Kraken will no longer give impulses to players from the tentacle slams or tentacle impact. So I'm pretty sure what this was. I read a Reddit post about a bunch of companies on the PvE server that tried to beat this. There's also some changes that probably were because of this big coalition doing it in PvE servers. And when I'm pretty sure this was when they did the slams, it would send out a big pulse that would basically like kill a bunch of NPCs and players on ships, even if they didn't get hit by it. So just kill tons of players and NPCs like super far away. Impacts from the Kraken body parts will no longer cause ship damage. So I'm wondering if this is the slams of the tentacles and stuff, or if this is just hitting Kraken body parts. I don't know exactly what this is. I've never fought the Kraken yet. Ships of the damned. Kraken minions are now damageable in PvE. This was a big issue in PvE as well, that they couldn't damage the ships of the damned. Reduce the damage of the Kraken homing projectiles by 50%. Increase the damage taken by the Kraken tentacles by 50%, so more Kraken nerfs. There's probably going to be more Kraken nerfs in the future as well, because this was a bunch of companies that had to do this. So if it's taking like just multiple companies to be able to do this with tons of ships, like it probably needs nerfed, even though it is cool to have like a big massive boss like that. For the amount of rewards that the Kraken gives, even when it's going to give more, even when it's going to give a skill and stuff like that, I still don't think it's going to be that worth for how ridiculously difficult it is right now. Ghost ships will now appear every night rather than every 3 nights. So the ghost ship is the thing with the power stone and is not ships of the damned. Swapped mythical and legendary in the description for tools, skills tier 2 and 3 as they were previously incorrect. So I don't know what this actually is for. Is this the skills to be able to, for the higher tier tools? I'd assume this is just the skills to be able to make and use the higher tier tools, and I guess maybe just the text was backwards. Fix a bug where beds that were placed beyond the default accommodation limit were destroyed on server load. This actually happened to me. So basically you can level up your ship in accommodation so you can place more beds on it, and specifically on my schooner, just one of the beds randomly got destroyed. I assume by this because it was over the base bed of 1, so it got destroyed. And it just chose a random one, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, that's a patch notes. On Twitter, actually, Jat was talking about there's probably going to be multiple balance patches today, possibly. They're much earlier time than me, so I don't know exactly when that will be. I'll probably do a video on that tomorrow if there's those patches. So subscribe if you want to see more Atlas content. Leave a like if you like the video. Leave a comment down below what you think about these patch notes, what you think about Atlas as a whole, and thanks for watching.